this? Incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 165 of The Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening, and I hope you have just about managed to pick your jaw up from the floor following what can only be described as an absolute banger from Eberechi Eze last night. I mean, I only just stopped spending or wasting, depending on your viewpoint, copious amounts of time online watching and rewatching Dowman's goal from the weekend from all angles and all different commentaries, and then Eze does that, and now I'm going to have to do it all over again. And last night it took me a while to get to sleep, and mostly just through to scrolling social media and seeing it, and then Rice follows up with a tap in. So and there we go. So much for boring Arsenal. And joining me today to discuss that goal, our relatively comfortable 2-0 win over by Leverkusen, and then preview the Carabao Cup final this coming Sunday is Jamie. How are you? And following Everton and last night, are Arsenal actually the good guys now?
I am quite enjoying that. Like I've been listening a lot more to external voices the last few days, and I think everybody has at this point just reached the stage where they're like, actually, we're a bit bored of this conversation ourselves, and like they're winning. What the fuck's wrong with us, sort of thing. Like there's no point having this debate anymore. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying people just conceding on that front effectively. Even Adrian Durham and I did not choose to listen to the bastard. It's just YouTube does decide to autoplay some stuff, right?
It's called an algorithm, you should know. So that means you must be listening to other related stuff.
Well, I think it's because I've listened to a bit of Jamie O'Hara, and that again, that's a hate watch, right?
That's more Schadenfreude. So yeah, unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't distinguish between hate watching and like watching.
Yeah, I'm very keen to know what Cundy and O'Hara think about the world right now, because for Chelsea and Tottenham, it's so grim whilst they're watching the Arsenal do what they're doing. But yeah, it has been quite fun. I will say I've got a different for Eze's goal, and that is, for me, it's a classic Thunderbastard.
Thunderbastard.
To reference another podcast that kind of coined the phrase, but yeah, classic Thunderbastard.
Absolutely, I think that was your 3-word review as well. So there we go. And yeah, before we'll get into the Arsenal of it all, but the reason why I said are we the good guys now? And I think people are just getting in their digs just before we potentially start winning stuff, and then they look dumb. So if they get it in now, is one last bit of rage bait. But I mean, as you said, there's been a load of discourse online. You've got ex-pros like John Obi Mikel from the cheating period of Chelsea, and you get Paul Scholes spouting utter nonsense. And then there's the one article on ESPN claiming that Arsenal are making football worse. And I know we should ignore it, but bloody hell, it's wearisome. I mean, especially because, again, you have to
what does ESPN know about football anyway?
I don't know. I'm sure they have some no-mark sort of journalist that follows it on from a distance and comes with some ridiculous comments. But doesn't James Benge though work for ESPN, or is that someone else? Is that CBS? I can't remember. But so they can have some decent people there. It's like everything, you know. And James Benge is pretty good from an Arsenal perspective. But it's wearisome because you get people who aren't into the detail like us and aren't into the weeds, who come up to you with, and then they're taking these opinions and all the rest of it. But it's like, and again, we are actually up against teams who have actually been cheating, like City and the 115 charges, Chelsea, who have just been found guilty of rigging player transfers, and then we're the problem because we happen to be pretty good at set pieces. And it's just I hate just lazy, disingenuous narratives, and they ignore the massive elephants in the rooms just to get a few buck. But I guess that's the nature of the media at the moment. And what did you make of the stuff around that came out about Chelsea, and we've all heard about Wenger and Hazard. Hazard would have been ours had it not been for the under the table brown envelope, additional payments, and so they were saying like 47 million in off-book payments linked with Hazard, David Luiz, and Matic. And
I mean, we all knew these things were there, right? We all knew that they were there, and it was, it comes as no surprise. It's a bit of a delayed reaction, and it doesn't mean a great deal, the punishment. And
10 million is 10 million, a suspended transfer ban, and okay, they can't sign youth or
fairness, they
academy
mainly
players.
relate to when there were different owners, don't they?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, this bunch of owners are a bunch of arseholes as well, But then I think pretty much anybody that owns a football club generally is these days. You know what I mean?
There's no such thing as a good, nice billionaire.
I mean, you could feel how you wanted to feel about your kind of local mill owner or whoever, your Jack Walkers and stuff that have owned him in the past. But even the majority of them were probably tossers as well, to be honest. Like it is what it is. But certainly they're even less romantic now than they ever were. Because now it's sorry, Wales, it's a bunch of Yanks, But yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. We knew these things were there. There was really very little doubt about it for a lot of years. We know that the City issues are there as well, but all you can do ultimately is try and rise above it. And some teams did do that during the Chelsea era to a certain extent, but unfortunately we didn't really. It very much timed itself with us moving into a new phase of trying to secure ourselves future revenues via the Emirates, and Chelsea came along at the very worst time, didn't it? And that will forever. I think there's a couple of teams there. The later, some of the ones that came later, we degraded too far. But there were a couple of teams, the 09-10, and the very first one to have lost to Chelsea, which was 5-6, right? Those two teams obviously can feel very aggrieved, I think, at what transpired. Yeah. But it is. It's not going to change.
Well, yeah, it's in there, but there just needs to be no disincentive. And as you said, look, they fessed up. The new owners, they helped out. So this is why I think people are thinking, because of this, then City are going to get off really lightly with a slap on the wrist. But I think they're basically saying because the owners in buying it noticed this and they said, oh no, there's an issue here, that went a long way to meaning that the punishment was fairly minimal, whereas City have obstructed every available opportunity. So you can't really compare
it. It is a different situation, isn't it? The Chelsea one is more akin actually to be honest, the first team in the Premier League that I know of to get done for it was us. You want to talk about brown paper?
You're talking about the George Graham brown envelope. Come on, I think this is slightly bigger scale.
It is, but my point is more, if I'm honest, I think this stuff, the sort of brown envelopes, if you like, goes on or has on football a lot, and a lot more than necessarily has been reported, to be completely frank. And I don't think any of it is of the scale of the issues that we see with what's happened at City and their circumnavigation of those particular rules. But yeah, I mean, it's scummy, it's shit, but it's kind of business of football is fairly scummy and shit, I think.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, it's just another stick to beat Chelsea with, so I'm happy with that. And if anyone's ruined football,
it's going to be the next scandal, isn't it? So and they'll be hit by that. And again, it will be City and Chelsea are the worst offenders. The bloody lot of them, right? It's every ill all seems to come back to the two.
Well, actually, if there's anyone that has ruined football, and maybe it was coming anyway, it's Abramovich. He completely changed the landscape with the dodgy financing of buying going from a no-mark team that no one really cared about to buying trophies. So anyway, you don't want to talk about that. That's enough of that. But I just thought I'd mention it because that's been a topic. And let's get on with Arsenal 2, Leverkusen 0. So we get through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, 3-1 in aggregate. And before we get to that highlight and see if we can find a low light, what did you make of the team? So we had, we started off with White and Hincapié at fullbacks, sort of replacing Calafiori and Timber. And then we went with Gyökeres and Trossard replacing Havertz and Madueke. Yeah, what did you think of that?
Yeah, so I mean, going into the game, I felt pretty confident in the side that we were putting out. I was, I think in the hindsight of watching it and seeing those selections in action, and I mean, I think for a start, the Benny White playing, I still think again validates why Mascara came on at the weekend. I still think that might have been one of the biggest drivers for him to come on, more so than the Everton's left-hand side. Is just that you knew you were going to need Benny White to put in a shift, and it was lovely to see Benny White back. It's just good to see the fella out there on the pitch when you're not sure how long that's necessarily going to be the case for again. So
Yeah, he's now out for another 6 weeks. He's had his one game.
Is he really?
No.
Oh, right, thank God.
But if you were to hear that, you would not be surprised. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. The curse of the Arsenal right back is a thing, isn't it? Or just fullback, in fairness.
Yeah.
So and otherwise, Hincapié wasn't a surprise. And my God, he played like a man possessed against his former team. And Gyökeres wasn't a surprise. You said the other day as well, Havertz won't start this, having started the other one. And actually, it's fantastic opposition for Gyökeres to be up against. Actually, he just works really well in this type of game and against this kind of opposition who will come and play a game with us a little bit. To be completely honest, it was fully confident in the lineup. The options that were there were the ones that were anticipated, and that's it.
Yeah, because I think we're thinking of this as a 3-game stretch. So you take it as a Everton, Leverkusen sort of City final thing in terms of how you're managing the squad and on the players. So this was, if anything, this was the chance to make some of those changes and sort of give minutes to some and rest up others. And obviously Timber's enforced, but I think potentially would have been sat out in anyway, sort of at least to be on the bench. And I mean, what struck me most was the Saka, combining them together, Saka, Trossard and Eze as a sort of an attacking three to complement or differ to Gyökeres, because I think having those very technical attacking players, considering Bayer Leverkusen, when they defend in numbers, the ball's going to be in front of them, so we're going to have to need those technical players to manoeuvre them around, try and find those spaces, try and find those pockets, rather than because we knew there wouldn't be any space in behind, and so Gyökeres can act as a bit of a battering ram and as a target man, but the others are, and I think they all four of them actually worked really well together in their sort of various bits of the pitch, but also together as a unit. So I think it was really good to see that. Okay then, so what was your highlight from the game, and did you find any lowlights?
I mean,
is it going to be basically like Everton? There is only one highlight.
That's really. I mean, I don't think there is only one highlight, right? There's a load of really good highlights in it. In fairness, I mean, obviously the Eze goal is the one, because it was just an absolute belter. What a strike! And it was funny, wasn't it? The ball was kind of bouncing about a little bit, and they were knocking it about very quickly between a few of them, but it wasn't particularly clean. And he knocks the ball up, sets himself for it, and there was just something about it in that instant, in that moment, where you just like, what it's like. It's only a second between him receiving it, flicking it up, and actually giving it the welly. And I just sort of felt it immediately. There's something about Eze in those positions where he's able to set himself and go for the half volley. He just loves it, doesn't he? Absolutely loves it. And that is just some strike. Keeper's got absolutely no chance. It's very clear that's the highlight for me. And then low light. I don't think I've got one, to be honest with you. I really don't. It was such a lovely game in so many respects. I really don't, because I think we came out really well. Low light would probably be some of the fans around me who there were quite a few moaners around me at 0-0, and in particular giving it large about at one point a bit of a long ball was ploughed forward that was a bit aimless, and somebody said, I'd rather he did that than all of this, all of this passing sideways all the time, whatever. And it's like, fucking hell, have we not been at this for a while now? And also, like, are you not, like, Leverkusen's press is top notch, and what they do really well is they cover the passing lanes brilliantly. I was in the North Bank upper, so you're looking down. It's that pitch view, right, where first half we're trying to play out from our side. It's you see all those lanes. There's no fucking passing lanes. And there's also
it looks easy from the upper tier, but when you're down on pitch level, you can't see them. It's just not...
What you've got to do is that repetition of was it Carl Walker called it the other day, but it's the Pep way to be able to play through the block that we do the same of, which is I think it's the up, back and through. right? It's the up, back, through, which is effectively what a lot of people see as the kind of the cycle of doom, which is that you play it forwards, you then play it back whilst you position yourselves, and then you play it through to the guy who's passed it backwards. That's sort of the idea, right? And you have to manoeuvre teams that are doing that to you. If they're as well disciplined and as good at what they do off the ball as Leverkusen, and they did it really well in the first half, then ultimately, you've got to go through those cycles. And I just don't understand people who sit there week in, week out with this kind of idea in their heads that football's going to change suddenly. Like, I just don't quite understand it. Or the idea that we're going to be successful with complete harem scarum stuff, that we flick a switch. It's like they don't quite understand the concept of of the team in front of you determining the kind of football that you're able to play.
And some people don't. They just see it as in go forward, score goal. And I don't want to do people. Everyone watches it differently. Everyone thinks about football differently. Everyone, no one's into the weeds or analysing like we do to a certain extent, and think about it a bit deeper and analyse it a bit more and stuff like that. People are just literally just there to see. I just want to see my team go forward and score a goal. So basically, if you're playing around the back, you're not going forward and trying to score a goal, and they just want to see it like pumped up long. They don't think about, well, actually, what happens when you pump it up long? If you don't win the second ball or don't win the duels, then you basically get countered on, and then it's more dangerous. You're more likely to let in a goal. It's just a very, again, I'm not going to denigrate anyone for the way they think about it, but it's just a very binary way of looking at it. Whereas what you just explained there, in terms of trying to shift people out of position, trying to maneuver people, trying to get the space, and also opposition are allowed to play. They don't just like open their legs for us and say, in you go. It's all about trying to adjust to that. And it's the
post analytics world, right? I mean, that's what's happened is that we've got this kind of post game theory sort of state. We've got people talk about Arsenal's efficiency and the optimization, and that's absolutely right, because that is, it's all kind of stems from that kind of game theory thinking, right? The fact that you would rather have a smaller number of high opportunity or high percentage opportunities than you want a greater volume of low percentage opportunities. You take 3 70%ers or 3 60%ers versus 10 percenters, right? That's the kind of thinking that's come into football as a whole a lot more now, but which we are probably kings of. So I understand the frustration sometimes in the final third. I kind of get that, because we're we are very much about trying to create those hyper optimal chances, and that the choices that we make are specifically around that. You retain the ball if you're going to be in a low percentage opportunity. And the guys are drilled with that stuff now. And there are players being brought into the world of football that are being brought in now with an understanding of the analytics that are driving these kind of tactics and behaviours, and that is happening all over the place. So I completely get it in the final third to a certain degree, people's frustration, because definitely some of the more fun stuff in the final third is going missing. But when it comes to the likes of playing out from the back and kind of how we tried the build-up, it just beggars belief to me that you could have sat there for the last 5 to 10 years even. And, even going back as far as Emirates, and not understand what works and what doesn't work.
Well, look at the first goal that we scored against Everton. It's because we were risk rewarding. We played around the back and bang, we the players free and away you go. But my low light was less cerebral. Basically, I got into the stadium later than I normally do, and there was no pizza available, and I was really hungry. So that was my low light.
I mean, mate, it's only a Chicago. Oh no, it's not anymore, is it?
No. It's actually really nice. As pizza goes, it's actually quite a decent slice for us.
Marinara, see, for the vegans amongst us, which is really disappointing.
They do a margarita, so it's fine. But anyway,
no, that's not a marinara though, is it, mate? That's got cheese.
They're not going to put bloody squid and prawns in a pizza in the Emirates, are they?
No, a marinara.
Yeah. Well. Oh, sorry. Maybe I did an extra.
Italian, you Burke.
No. But what you think? No, are we going to? No, what you think? What's a marinara? Do you mean margarita? Just cheese and tomato?
No, a marinara.
Vegan. You mean just tomato?
Marinara is just tomato. That is a marinara pizza. Doesn't matter where you are. like any city in
Oh,
Italy, you
is
ask
that,
for a
is that
marinara, you get
right?
marinara
Sorry.
sauce, which
I
is
thought you meant marinara. There you go.
right. Okay, well, no, that's not what I said, is it? So
You mean a cheese-free pizza? Right. Okay. There we go. Well,
shittest Italian
that's not a
episode.
pizza then, in
It
my
is.
world.
Hey, you go to Napoli and tell them that. All right, you go to the south and tell them that.
Anyway, back to that. Anyway, I was really hungry, so that was my low light. No, in terms of the highlight, yeah, it has to be. You're right. We'll pick through other highlights, but it has to be that Eze goal and yeah, like you. And I had such a good view of it, and we were just there as soon as it was hit. It was sort of like just wow, yeah, it was just sort of wow, and it sat up perfectly for him, and it's just there to be twatted, and and there was a worry up to that point that the goalkeeper was having one of those games. He was having a worldie and
Very good, wasn't he? Yeah,
saving everything, but there's no saving that, and I think the ball will hit the back of the net before he even dived, and it's just like and that's his first Champions League goal. So what way to score your first Champions League goal? And his celebration was just so cool. He doesn't strike me as someone that would go running around knee sliding and stuff. He's always was it Elise at the two Palace ones?
It was particularly nonchalant though, wasn't it? I think that's the word I've got to attach to that. It was absolutely nonchalant. Yeah.
And then you said, no, because I was thinking at Palace, there was two of them. I don't know if it was Elise, the ones that didn't celebrate goals or something like that, because he said, "Oh, that's my job." But anyway, so and then you Saliba and White there with just their head on their hands, and it was just like I think just everyone, even looking in the crowd, I've seen it again so many angles, and you just see everyone like, "Oh my god," yeah, So that's an incredible stuff, and that actually just a call out on Eze himself, like, and we talked about this at half time when we met up, and even beforehand, is just he's really coming to life the last few games, and but not just his on the ball work, his off the ball work, and his press and teaming up with Gyökeres or Saka or Trossard. When you see him now, it's very much like how Odegaard presses, like sort of straight at the keeper, and really and it's a team unit now, whereas beforehand that he wasn't, that part of his game wasn't it, and now that he's doing those sort of non-negotiables for Arteta, it's sort of he's doing that bit. And then, right, you've done that. Now we're going to free you to do the rest of your stuff. And even Arteta alluded to it yesterday. He said, like, without that ball recoveries and pressing, you have no chance to play in this team, because everybody does it. And that's the magic of it, and the reason why we are so consistent in winning matches and preventing you.
He looks like he gets it now, doesn't he? And I think it's very understandable. The lad's 27. He's not necessarily been asked to do all the things that he's been asked to do for us. Out of possession, I think, was a part of his game at Palace, but in a very different way. And what he's being asked to do here is to be more active in that phase of the game, and he just seems to get it now. And I think that's allowed him. And I think also, to be honest, the Odegaard injury obviously is great for him, because it's allowed him to relax a little bit, kind of push himself. When I say relax, he will be pushing himself to be the best that he possibly can be. That's the kind of guy that Eberechi Eze is, I think. But there is a little bit of relaxation knowing that you're more than likely going to be on the team sheet for a few weeks, for at least all the big games. You've got an opportunity, push, and he has. And for me, he's done a really, really good job the last few weeks, and I've really enjoyed watching him. He's quiet. It's not moments of magic constantly, but he just does. There's some things that he does. The style that he plays with, that's just delightful to watch. Really, really delightful. In a very similar way to Martin Odegaard, but quite different in a technical level, right?
Well, he's playing in a more advanced area of the pitch, and he takes shots. I mean, that goal against Mansfield, it was a banger as well. And then that one yesterday, and at least he's playing in that, was it zone 14, just in front of the penalty area, and he's there, and he's not afraid to try something.
There's kind of less 1-2s, but a bit more incisions sometimes, right?
Yeah, so he's and also we are coming into Eze season, because there's his nut stats in the last 4 seasons. Eze has averaged 0.5 goals per game, March, April to May, when the clocks go forward and the sun comes out, and whereas in autumn, winter, he's on 0.9 goals per game. So he's known as Mr. Sunshine. I think even the Palace fans.
He dedicates everything to God, and Easter is coming, right? So that is it. Like Easter comes about, and the top class form is resurrected.
Exactly, and it feels like the team is hitting their strides at the right time. Maybe the fitness levels, the injuries and stuff like that. It just seems to be coming together when it really has to. And Arteta said, and a bit alluded to you, that he's playing regularly. He said Ebbs is playing every 3 days. He has rhythm, has an understanding with the players. And this is why he's here. He's building an understanding with all of them. And when you start to make key moments in games, that lifts your confidence. So I think it's just all these things in around our season, in around how Arsenal are performing, and just around him. And we're looking at who's going to be that person that isn't Declan Rice that's going to take us forward, in winning season. Who's going to take us forward and have those moments to take us to where we want to get to, because we know Rice is doing that week in, week out, and he's the lawnmower, and he's just doing all those things. But there's that person at the pointy end of the pitch that could be the one the driving force.
A question the sum of this is, I'll tell you, because I think at the moment, with the way that Eze is playing and the fact that we know that rhythm's so important to both him and also to Martin Odegaard, both of them need that rhythm and playing every few days, and to get the best out of them. Does Odegaard get back in? If Odegaard does get back in, you're going to have to back him. You have to give him a few games, and then you've got such a choice in the summer over which of the two of them you probably retain, because I can't see us being in a position where we necessarily retain both. It's a question for the summer, and after we've had
for the summer,
it's something that's already started whirring in my head to go Jesus Christ, that's going to be very interesting come the summer what we do there.
Especially because
you take one of them and you then have Ethan coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, because they're two, they're two very different players. So it's not like you can compare and it's easy. So it basically your style, who you pick determines your style for that season to a certain extent. And you're right, you've got one area.
Odegaard dominates our style too much, actually, in a weird way. And I adore Martin Odegaard, by the way.
Yeah, of course we do. Player of the season for 2 seasons, last couple of years, or before that,
But I do wonder a little. You sort of wonder a bit. Obviously, the right-hand bias that was the thing for so long is less of a thing now, right? And one of those reasons might well be not having Martin Odegaard there, and maybe maybe it does benefit and sort of move the team around a little bit more. And I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum, super interesting. And again, it's for another time to go into depth, but it's just. It's already started in my head because Eze is doing a really fine job at the moment, and it's great. It's great to look at him and think at the moment he's got that shirt, and I don't think I felt that way after his first spell earlier on in the season. I think this is the one now where it feels like, okay, he's playing well enough at the moment that we need him to keep doing that.
I think rest of the season we're going to need all our players, because you never know what happens, injuries, stuff like that. There'll be games we need to rest up, things like that. So we'll see. But look, in terms of yesterday's game and the stats, I didn't realise this, but it sort of makes sense to a certain point. Leverkusen had 58 possession to our 42, so they were more dominant on the ball. But I think that's but where they had the ball as opposed to anything else. We had 1.7 xG to their 0.52. We had 21 shots, and look, I think following Everton, I think where we had 25 shots, is showing a lot of intent and real intent, and maybe a change in some sort of mindset in terms of let's try shooting more. You never know what can happen, and as you've noticed recently, like I said, the bank. We got the Rice goal, which we'll get to, the Eze goal, then even against Mansfield, Madueke and Eze again, and there's been other instances where we're scoring some really good goals from outside the box. But so therefore, then all of a sudden teams are maybe having to defend against us differently, because right now, bloody hell, now they've added scoring from 25 yards to everything that they do, and Jesus, is there nothing that this team can't do, sort of thing? So then they maybe close us down, then that opens up space, then we pass it out wide. So I think it's a really really great intent there, and I think I think there's a stat here saying we registered 12 on target, which is the highest tally that we've had like in a single match, all season. So yeah, I like that in intent. Maybe some of our choice shot selections a bit iffy sometimes, but if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery, sort of thing. And so yeah, I'm loving that intent, and we're getting to see some fantastic goals. Despite what people are saying. So how did you? So in terms of, you sort of mentioned that you were fairly confident before the game. So then, how did you feel about the performance as a whole? How we approached the game, how we handled it, and how did you feel throughout that?
Absolutely super. I thought it was a great game. Really, really good performance. A lot of really good individual performances from across the side. And I think it's really nice to see, Martin Zubimendi has now had a couple of games in a row where I've really enjoyed his performances. He was absolutely top notch. Piero Hincapié was phenomenal. And I mean, absolutely phenomenal. To a certain extent, I'm going to ignore, I can't remember who the bloody hell said it, but some Egypt came out with the fact that they felt that if that Gabriel could potentially be having a watch out for his shirt with Piero Hincapié taking centre half off him. Somebody in the Grove,
really?
Yep, somebody came out with that. To which I was like, "Oh, shut up!"
Simple enough, do that.
But as an evaluation of Piero and Hincapié, absolutely deserved, and I think that's the emphasis that we're really trying to get across. So he was absolutely super, and I just kind of felt man for man, everybody played really, really well. Trossard did a great job out on the left. Bringing him in was definitely the right call for this game, and this is the kind of performance that was really, really fun. And I think seeing us, create opportunities, put on a bit of pressure, and kind of go through the gears at times, was kind of symptomatic of the kind of game that Leverkusen came out to play, where they're sensible, they know what they're doing off the ball, they're very, very, very good off the ball, but they also had to come here to try and win. So in second legs in the Champions League, you tend to get these kind of performances out of the Arsenal. Because they are different to those Premier League encounters, and I really just hope that we keep seeing them, to be completely frank. So if we can keep doing that for another couple of rounds and be in a position where we go out, we get a result in a first leg, come to our place and have a team that are chasing a result, then I kind of think that we can go toe to toe with teams. We don't have to just win in a tight kind of well orchestrated manner. We absolutely can go toe to toe and still be a better team than teams. That's what we've been doing for several seasons. We've just added the ability to be able to win those games that are so tight that we weren't necessarily doing before.
And look, on that point, and I think we made it in the preview, is that it does help to remember this is a 180-minute tie, not a 90-minute game. So all the criticism after the first game, there was context there. A run of 17 games, 11 were away from home. You're going away to Germany, and getting a draw is fine, and Champions fine, because you bring them back to the Emirates, and this is what you can do, and you put the onus on them, and then as soon as there's some onus on them, it helps us as well. So there's always remembering that and not treating it in isolation, But you could, if we'd have lost that first game 2-0, even if we'd lost 1-0, I was fairly confident. You lose it 2-0, you go down, then that's a different story. So you need to always balance that. But I mean, for me, I think the context of this game, as I said, is this week. This is the second of 3 huge matches this week, which will go a long way to defining our season. And Everton, Bayer Leverkusen, and the final against City. And following the late euphoria from Everton, I think it was about carrying on that momentum, but getting the job done in a sort of a measured way, being professional and sort of moving on, so then we can focus on City. I mean, obviously with this, Arteta says it's the next game. The next game is the most important one, but it's very hard not to shape it in this week. And I think expectations were high that we would win. Everton was massive in terms of the league. The Carabao Cup final is huge in terms of a trophy. So it'd be very easy to sort of dismiss this game and the American term, a trap game, as they say. And even though it's Champions League round of 16, you're getting into the quarterfinals. It's just easy for it. It would potentially be easy for it to get lost in and amongst that, and forgetting that Leverkusen, okay, despite their position, they're still a good team. Have, like we saw last week, they're players that can cause us trouble, and so we just had to make sure that we didn't take our eye off the ball, and that's why this was a really good professional performance and a real step up from last week, in Germany. So yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if we'd won easy and we could rest the players, but in the end, we dominated. We dominated, and it was pretty much sort of perfect as a follow up from Everton and a pre-City sort of pre-final game. And then you said it's stand up performances from everyone, and we can get to some of those individual ones. But we obviously picked out as Rice was the lawnmower. He's not going up and down; he's going left and right. He's just everywhere. He gets the goal for his performance on there. And look, even Gyökeres. And it'll be interesting what you thought about Gyökeres' performance again, because I thought the relationships are starting to build, and he said this is a perfect game for him. I think maybe Europe suits him, but he was running the channels. He was unlucky not to get 1 or 2 assists. He was a menace yesterday.
And also because of the way that the way that they shut down the passing lanes, it suited us. So after a while, we did try and find those out balls with him where we were going over the top, or we were going for the whipped ball around the corner. And he likes going and trying to get on the end of those, right? I thought also his hold up play a couple of times was much. Again, that has improved. He's not getting just brushed off the ball by a small fullback quite so much anymore. His hold-up play was really good in this game a couple of times. So, really good performance. Really delighted. And I've already fully made my mind up anyway that I'm sort of happy with Gyökeres as a Kevin Campbell. Right? He's never going to be my Ian Wright. He's never going to be my Alan Smith. But he absolutely will be my Kevin Campbell. I'm happy for him to be a third man. And, you bring him in for those games where you need him to be there, and he's good enough to be able to, like Kevin Campbell did against PSG, he's good enough to be able to have key moments for Arsenal without ever being probably someone who's going to be a consistent goal scorer or a major contributor to the side. He's absolutely a good enough centre forward to play for us, and I'm delighted to see that. And I'm particularly delighted because I am wrong. At one point, I thought he wasn't even good enough to be that. So it's lovely to be proven a little bit wrong in that respect, but
he's showing his worth again, isn't it?
I've got a lot of warmth now. I'll say that. And there's a lot of warmth from now. That's probably the key bit, emotional bits.
I guess it's managing your expectations. If your expectation is like you need to be banging in 25 and you've got to be X, Y, and Z, and he's not, then you're going to be disappointed. If you actually see him for what he is, he might be a 20 goal a season player. He's on 16 already. If he does that contribution, and because of who we are, knowing that others are also going to contribute, we're not looking for that 30-40 main man guy. It also takes minutes for Havertz. So Havertz
I just wanted Ollie Giroud, mate. I just wanted Olivier Giroud. I'm sorry.
Who doesn't?
Yesterday, I watched an Olivier Giroud video. By the way, I still miss him. I still think he would be phenomenal for this football team.
Yeah, he's a bit old, but he's still gorgeous as ever. So in terms of the game, I saw it in 3 distinct parts. It was sort of a bit like the first 15 minutes of the first half I thought was quite interesting. And I think Bayer Leverkusen started off really well. I think their system was causing us issues. They had a high press, which was really good. Their pass and movement was really good. And it was pulling us out of position, making us feel a little bit uncomfortable. It was still all in front of us. It wasn't very threatening, but you could see what they were trying to do, and they were doing it higher up the pitch than us. And this is why I call it. I could see it because when we're doing our passing and moving, it's sort of like again from the back, from the halfway line, and so therefore you can see why people get frustrated because it's far away, and where they were doing it like right in front of me, just outside our area. So I thought that was really, really good, but. It was like the first 15 minutes. There was a bit of back and forth. We were going back and forth, stuff like that. So, but then as soon as our chances started coming, I think the first one was 16th minute from Trossard. And again, this is the first of many good saves. It was going right in. He hit it sweetly. He got a pass from Saka. I think he got a pass from Saka and he hits it sweetly into the top corner and the keeper makes a decent save. Then all of a sudden the chances coming. Gabriel has a header that just goes over. There was that the Rice free kick that had to punch away. You know, and then Saka, he had a right-footed shot, which we were talking about the other day, which he hadn't been doing recently. So it was nice to see him do that. There was some good defending by Hincapié in the meantime, just to stop a dangerous break from Grimaldo. What else? And then there was the one that I thought, how is that not a goal? And from the angle I saw it, I was like, well, that's in the back of the net, and I was up celebrating. There's the Trossard shot, and again, the keeper makes a great save. So I think all in all, you know, once we got over that first 15 minutes, yeah, it was all pretty much all Arsenal right up until I think the 75th minute. Yeah, you know, but yeah, so that was fairly dominant. How did you see that?
Yeah, pretty much. And it was, I can't really add a huge amount, to be honest. You're absolutely right. The first half in particular, the kind of the way that it swung back and forth a little bit was, or it didn't really swing back and forth, did it? It was more that it was there were frustrations at times. It felt like we were feeling our way into it, and neither team was really getting on top of each other. And then second half, it just felt kind of entirely us, really.
Yeah, I think it was more both teams' presses were working quite well, and so therefore teams would give the ball away a bit, and then we suddenly got control. There was a really odd moment. Another, so you were in the North Bank when you upper, so you weren't like where you were at Everton, so you might not have seen this, but apparently in the 33rd minute there was a bit of a potential handball by Raya when it was rolling it out. I don't know if you've seen this. I
heard this. Yeah. Do you know? I heard it from a few people, but I think it was really difficult to see from our angle in particular.
Yeah.
But I heard bits about it. What was your view then on that?
I didn't notice, but I've seen back. It's one of these ones you can't tell because there's people in the way. There's blurred. If you had to make me choose, it's one of those ones there. I think it might have been handball, but it's too hard to call. It's a bit like you know. This is with him rolling it out. You know when you have goalkeepers that kick it out from their hands, and they're sort of really outside the area. Looks at it, so it's a tough one to call. You know, people again. Non-Arsenal fans calling, you know, VAR, why didn't you find this? But it was just like, yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would happen because you can't be sending off for that because it's not like a deliberate handball or anything. But it'd be interesting what would have happened if you called it. But anyway, it's
well, I think unless it's literally the keepers coming out and handling it outside the area to stop something.
Yeah,
it feels it's sort of incidental and technical, isn't it? And it's like, who really gives that much of a toss?
Fine, no, free kick and a yellow card, and say, okay, just don't be so dumb. Then we get that goal, and I love this, you know, from Matt Stacey, save that dickhead, so he put that in the group.
What's Fredechki done to her, Matt? Like,
no, because he did all those saves beforehand, so it's like, he's saving everything else.
There was the scrambly bit and the bunch of saves and stuff, but still, it feels a bit much. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, Matt is just like likes a joke.
I don't know. I'd think that's putting him in the Emi Martinez bracket or something. Like,
I think that was a nice dickhead as opposed to your bloody Martinez dickhead. There we go. And Eberechi Eze joins Theo Walcott as only the second English player to score for Arsenal. This is in all 4 competitions in a single season. So,
fuck. Bloody hell! What a shit stat.
2012. Sorry, he's scoring in all 4 competitions.
Only the second, and I was like, all right, okay. No, that's bollocks.
Yeah, I didn't notice the English bit until I read it out now. I saw the stat and I just only saw the English.
The all 4 competitions thing in the same. It's God. Such a happenstance stat because it's like, it's got to be a stat where you're in all the competitions and you play. It's just a bit like, does anybody? The main thing is just, does anybody give a shit about that particular stat? Like, there's nothing.
No. It's just a nice little fluffy stat. There we go. But there we go.
I appreciate it. I like the fact that I'm able to take the piss out of such a shite stat. It's quite good fun.
And then you're seeing all the stuff about Trossard actually putting it on a plate for Eze as well.
Yeah,
so there we go. Yeah. Anyway, so good first half. Then second half, again, it's pretty much continued. I did want us. We did need to get that second. because I think you're always in danger of something stupid happening, and as much as you're in control, and as much as there wasn't really any real threat coming from Leverkusen, you want to get that second goal. And Trossard has a shot, Gyökeres has a shot. There is the one where great interplay between Saka, Gyökeres, and White, and Gyökeres cuts it across the 6-yard box, and the defender gets there just in front of Hincapié for a tap in. So that was a really nice move there.
There was some lovely moves in general actually throughout the game. There was some really nice little interplay moments that occurred with that front four.
Yeah, and then we do get a second goal of Rice, and it hasn't got the wow factor, shall we say, as much as Eze's goal, but there's something really aesthetically pleasing about this.
It's still a bit of a wow goal for me. I think that's an absolute belter. And I mean, obviously,
I meant wow as in the power. Eze's goal was oh my fucking god!
The way that it grazes the post pretty much, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kisses it. Yeah, but that's what I mean. If you see it from behind, just the aesthetic of it going out wide.
I obviously was I was right in line with.
Oh, you're in front of it, so yeah.
So it was to see it emerge, to see that sort of, he's doing his all-action Declan Rice stuff, wins it, and then you're thinking good position. Yeah. And we did win the ball in good positions a bunch of times in this game, much like we did in the Everton game as well. It was, these are games that these last couple of games, something that's really pleased me has been the way that we've been winning the ball high up the pitch. And the way that he just goes for it. And I love that finish, and I think it's a cracking goal. And it is a bit of a shame for him that Eberechi Eze scoring that means it's incredibly difficult to take the limelight, because that is Eze
any other day
such a huge amount of limelight for that goal. But it's a cracker of a goal. Really, really, really nice, and lovely that he did that bit of battling before it as well. It's a proper Declan Rice special, that.
Yeah, well, I by the way, just to let you know, Barcelona are winning 7-2.
I saw, I did get distracted by that momentarily. That
is everyone competing with each other, apart from Arsenal, to try and see who can get humiliated the most?
It's quite funny, actually. Do you remember we had I don't know whether we had the conversation on here or we had the conversation somewhere else, but certainly, do you know what? We had the conversation with our podcast friends, Steph and
Steph and
Holly, about about kind of fancying that in the Champions League. I think we said only in English. It felt like we were only particularly scared of the English teams, or the English teams to be more likely to knock us out. And we ended up on the side of the draw with less of the English teams. And actually, there's going to be only 2 of us left?
Potentially, if Liverpool can turn over Galatasaray, yeah. So currently 8-3 on aggregate. So that's slightly better than Chelsea's. Was it 8-2? So there we go. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So no, but what was really good about the Rice goal was actually how it started. Actually, I think I can't remember what it was, but it was in their corner, and he had Saka and another player, I don't know, who were that trying to box them in and really put the pressure on right deep in their heart, in their corner flag, which then forced the poor clearance. And then Saka, and then Rice anticipates the Leverkusen guys back foot and comes in, and really pleased to see him shoot, because I think there's been a few times recently, even in yesterday's game, I think even against Everton, we see he's there and we know he's got the shot on him. And I think maybe because it's sometimes more, because he's left it sits on his left-hand side. So therefore, he maybe feels less comfortable. But it was really nice to actually see him shoot, because we know he can do it. We know he's got a cracking shot on him. So it was like, and then I think there was like a nanosecond of frustration when he had that one chance to shoot and he didn't. And he just took it slightly further forward and then he puts in. Yeah, because you could just see, So, but it was a wonderful goal, and then it meant we could start making subs. White, Trossard, and Zubi came off. Mascara,
that's what I was going to say. I think that's where you need the second to relax and bring on the subs, didn't you? Really, and that was exactly what we wanted. And you get a little bit of a little bit of time with the final sub. I think it was, wasn't it, to see MLS play in midfield for all of about 4 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, something like that. And there was one other substitution. I think it was just after. We had a few of these 3-on-2s, 4-on-2s, 4-on-3s, and Eze was going through the middle, and he had the decoy runs or runs from Saka on one side, I think Gyökeres on the other. and then he took the shot. I think it was a decent shot, but got blocked. And then tried to have another shot, and that got blocked. And it was one of those ones when they both contact the ball at the same time, and he went down, saying he was injured. He put his hand up straight away, waving at the bench, and that was like, oh, really? Please, no. But he said after the game, yeah, he's fine and no issues. So maybe it was just embarrassment. He decided to get himself substituted. So, and look, there was a Havertz goal, but rightly disallowed for foul and handball. Then there were a couple of moments, and then it came into the last 15 minutes, and obviously Leverkusen had to push more, and they started to put in some really vicious crosses. There was some real good crossing coming in from the right-hand side. There was one Raya came and missed, and it bounced off Saliba's knee. Kwanzaa had a flicked header. And then there was the 87th minute, and this really stopped it from being a nervy ending because it went to 94 minutes. The save by Raya, and it is sort of like from Kafane, after a nice move, hits it first time, sort of, side footed away to the far corner, but brilliantly anticipated by Raya, and just we just would have hated having that tense last 6 minutes, So and it just goes to show you he has not a lot to do all game, but you just need him for these moments, just every now and then.
And he does it a lot. Everton, he made a couple of really good saves, right? He's
underrated.
I think the biggest heroes of this season for us over the course of the year are, for me, at this moment in time, Gabriel, Raya, and Rice. And I think Raya's been absolutely top class throughout the season, and sometimes we don't celebrate him enough because, as you say, he's not being asked to super keeper everybody. But the quality of his saves have been, absolutely superb on such a frequent basis this season, and it's just become really normal. It's just super normal. That's just how good a goalkeeper he is now, and you can rely on him, and that's absolutely phenomenal.
His agility, but just when you need him at that one time, more often than not, he's there. And this is the 87th minute.
Do you trust Aaron Ramsdale to do what Raya does? Not to take it back to that, but it's a hard thing to be. Is to be a goalkeeper in a team,
in a good team.
Never mind the fact that he plays with the ball as much as he does. Which he does with such aplomb. And again, we know that's a difficult thing to ask of anybody, to be on the ball as much as he is, and he does so with, I can't remember, very many, kind of hairy moments this season. There's been the odd one, but really they've not been anywhere near as significant as they've been over, the previous, prior to David Raya arriving. There were about 5 or 6 years of us trying to get various goalkeepers to try and play out. And,
I still remember Petr Cech and that ball across the edge, or ball across the goal line.
Petr Cech, Bernd Leno, we had a few.
Martinez.
But even then, Martinez and Ramsdale, who were decent with the ball at their feet, were nowhere near, what David Raya does. He's not Edison, but he's bloody close. And that's, I think he's been just absolutely superb, and he's got. I do think he needs to get his flowers when you think about him, just purely because there's not that often. He's not going to be our Eze or our Max Dowman or whoever those guys are that have dominated the last few weeks. It's very rare that David Raya is going to be that player for us. He could go all seasons without it. But over the course of the season, he's been as important as anybody in this team, I think.
It's sort of thing, unless he's saving a penalty at a key moment, you don't get that limelight sort of moment. It's just sort of like, oh, that's what he does, and you sort of very quickly forget it. So no, I do want to call that out, and I think he's one of those unsung heroes. Like again, he's normalised it. So when you normalise excellence like that, it's amazing. You just want to think you will know it when it's gone, type stuff. And so as you said. Yeah, Lewis Skelly came on for Gyökeres in 90 minutes, 4 minutes in midfield, so that's him ready to step into that role. And there, game over. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't, or you didn't see this after the final whistle, because I think you're pretty much out the door, pretty sharpish. Did you? But I don't want to do you a disservice. Did you see Arteta on the walkabout with the team? Then they go around clapping
not, mate. I was literally final whistle's blowing. I am off to the pub.
He was really pumped, waving his fists at the crowd, like, really, and thumping his chest, banging his heart. And it was weird because I've never seen that before. Actually, to be honest, I've not really seen him ever do the walkabout with the fans. Normally, he shakes the hands of the.
He's been very animated in recent weeks, hasn't he?
But he was hyped for this result.
I think really in general, he is just, at the moment, he is absolutely buzzing. And I think it's just I think with all of them as well, do you know, it's interesting. It's sort of like instead of the pressure that we felt in previous seasons, we galvanised in this running in some way. And there's a real, I think everybody looks a bit like it at the moment. There's been a lot of the players look really fired up. You know, everything about the side at the minute is just feeling. Yeah, there's a lot of adrenaline there. There's a lot of absolutely pushing through, and massive emotions going on, and it's to their credit and fairness, it's they can keep punching the bloody air as much as they want.
Yeah, it was really noticeable. And so look, I've got some more stats for you. Hopefully these are better. So and this is, I thought, was a really good one. Arsenal have won by 2 or more goals 23 times this season, and we've lost by 2 or more goals
once.
None. We haven't lost by more than a goal all season. 2-1 to Villa, 3-2 to Man United, and 1-0 to Liverpool. That's it. That's our three losses.
Over 2 legs, you're just going to beat anybody, aren't you?
Yeah. And what I was talking about earlier about sharing the goals, like Gyökeres and stuff like that, and our summer signings, and again now our summer signings are really sort of to a certain extent coming to the fore. We've seen what starting off defensively. You see what Hincapié is doing now and had to do to step in for Calafiori. Zubimendi we've seen all season. Okay, he's tailed off, but I think he's coming back to his best. But Zubimendi's got 9 goals and assists, so 6 goals. I think they maybe got that right. 6 goals and 3 assists. I think Madueke's 7 goals, 3 assists. Eze 9 goals, 6 assists, and Gyökeres 16 goals and 2 assists. So just the impact of our sub, and so sometimes it just goes to show, coming into a new team from a foreign country and all the rest of it. Sometimes it just takes time to get into it. Some people can hit the ground running. Zubimendi hit the ground running. You just straight away, round peg, ground hold. Beautiful, but that's 52 goals between them, and you add in Hincapié, I think he may have an assist and a goal from the Wolves. That's 53, 54. So that's incredible, incredible recruitment, and it shows about. And we've still got, some very, very important games left in the season. So I think that's really impressive, and we've now won 37 games this season, which is more than the Invincibles won across all competitions in 2003-04. And then finally, and back to the Raya point, the 25th clean sheet of the season in 49 games. So over half of our games we're not letting in a goal. And if you have that statistic, you're going to win more than you draw or lose. So incredible. The thing is, we still haven't won anything yet. No matter how good we're performing, how good the stats are.
What a lovely segue into
we will get there, but we haven't won anything. But performances are improving and looking good. So I'll say that. So and I do like the fact that we don't have a single point of failure, because look at City. Haaland's dropped been off the boil, and look how they've been past performances and the recent weeks. So it's a longish segue to what follows next. So we play Sporting Lisbon in the quarterfinals. We don't have to go to the Arctic Circle. We don't have to play an AstroTurf pitch. You fairly happy with that one? It's the Gyökeres narrative derby. And I think they beat Bodo Glimt 5-0. You happy about that one?
It was an interesting conversation, this, because loads of people have been going with the angle of I'd rather be playing Sporting Lisbon than playing Bodo Glimt because of the pitch, right? And I think you're of that opinion, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'd rather be playing Bodo Glimt because I think they're a fucking pub team, to be honest, that have just taken apart a few teams that were absolutely not on it because they're in a bit of a mess at given times, right? Sporting are a much better outfit, I think, than Bodo Glimt. That's my truth. And so I'd rather play Bodo Glimt. But having said that, I think we beat both teams over 2 legs in the vast majority of times. We beat Sporting 5-1 in the league stage
last year in the groups. Yeah, in the league stage last week.
We obviously, kind of the last time I played him in a knockout, it was a little bit hairier, wasn't it? So I'm not, I'd rather we didn't go through that again.
Well, we haven't lost to them in 7 previous attempts, so I think
we haven't. But we did have to go to a bloody penalty shootout, didn't we?
Well, no, actually, we lost to the penalty shootout. So in 120 minutes, we've not lost to Sporting in 7 attempts. I think they're the team we've played the most in Europe without losing. Not counting penalty shootouts. So that's 3 wins and 4 draws. But yeah, just the propensity of our team to get injured.
That's why our team is now that we'll we should turn them over 2 legs. But no, I'd genuinely have rather Bodo Glimt. All seriousness, I think I just don't think they're actually that. Well, I think absolutely massive respect to them for what they've done.
Yeah. I mean, they beat Inter Milan, they beat City. They got through the last round. I can't remember who against.
They're probably the best team to come out of Norway since Rosenborg of 1997. The team with Strand in it that was really good. So it's a very, very good competitive team, but I think the class difference between us and them would have been meteoric. I think it's a little bit less apparent with Sporting. Okay. But we'll beat Sporting anyway. It'll be fine.
Well, here's an interesting thing. So the Colombian Luis Suarez, who's replaced Gyökeres, scored 23 goals, 4 assists in 24 league games. Are we signing him next season?
No, because this is the problem, is that Portugal, like the Netherlands, and this was one of the issues I had with Gyökeres, you don't buy strikers from Portugal to score goals. You don't buy strikers from Netherlands to score goals.
Because Cristiano Ronaldo might have a word with you on that one.
Well, he wasn't a striker. He was a winger at the time, very much. And only gravitate to that position later in his career. Thank you. Yeah. But in all seriousness, it's more that you don't know what you're going to get, do you? So, unfortunately, there's a lot of Darwin Núñez's in this world.
Yeah. And, it's just a joke, just to show like the weakness of the Portuguese league and stuff like that. But there we go. So, me and you could go there and maybe bang in a few goals. Who knows? But look, interestingly enough,
Jardel, mate, he's the one that I go back to every time. Mario Jardel. It's been going on for years. Absolute frauds.
So as it stands, we are still the only team from England to qualify through, because Newcastle are out. Last night we had PSG beating Chelsea 3-0 away, so 8-2 on aggregate. We had Real Madrid beating Man City 2-1, 5-1 on aggregate. Bernardo Silva being sent off for a deliberate handball, stopping the ball going in on the line. How do you feel about City being knocked out? Because again, this was another one of these discussion points. Do we want City? Because the next round of the quarterfinals is in and around the City time. We think, well, we want them to be playing Bayern Munich in and around that, because they got Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, but they got knocked out. And I guess after losing 3-0 away to Real Madrid, if they were to get through, it would be a real morale boosting win, and they'll get their heckle up and all the rest of it, and before the Carabao Cup final. So I'm right with them being, their momentum still being down, their mood being down, just everything around that club being down. So
last week, isn't it? Like I think once Real had won the first leg, for me, you had to back Real to win the second leg. You can't have, if City had got a comeback, then that gets City feeling really good. That's such a boost. It's such a huge deal for them, and it propels them at that point. I don't want to imagine that. So delighted for City to go out. That's absolutely fine by me. Yeah. And in general, but if I'm honest, I'm also just less worried about City now. Anyway, now that the events have transpired of last weekend or of the weekend. I feel just so much more relaxed about things in terms of the domestic campaign. That, if I'm honest, I think all of these are just ideal outcomes. I think if things can just compound for City, and I quite liked he dropped Semenyo and Gay as well, right?
But I say dropped. I think resting, because I think even he knew, the team he played was trying, but not trying. I even looked at it here that they in the preview he actually Gahey came on at half time. Semenyo came on at 57. Marmoush came on at 56 for Haaland. So I think he sort of knew the game was up. Especially
throwing in the towel. Since when? To be like a couple of years back, Pep doesn't throw in the towel there.
No,
and City have got a really good chance of coming back. And this is all kind of symptomatic of the fact we know this isn't the best City in the world, but in particular, they're not business end, right? And that it is a weird thing because we've been all lacking business end last few seasons, whilst they've always been business end, right? So there is a foreshadowing there from previous seasons that you worry about. But I just don't think this lot have the minerals effectively. I don't think they. Which I think is all about confidence and belief. I don't think this squad collectively, individually they'll have it. They've got some of the best players in the world. But I think collectively they don't have that belief there at all. And I think, Guardiola's adaptations that he's tried several different times now probably say that at the moment he's not feeling fully confident either. And yet still we go into this game with them at the weekend and I absolutely fully, think they've got a tremendous chance. It's going to be a really hard game for us.
Yeah.
But over the course of the league, of what's left of the league season, I don't think there's a chance now that they catch us now.
Well, I mean, the other thing is now that the Bayern Munich fixture isn't going to happen, they could potentially fit in the Palace game, depending on how they do in Europe at that time as well. That seemed to be a sensible place to put it, because if they leave it later, then the FA Cup may come into play. And look, let's hope we get there and actually the result is meaningless, because so we'll see. But we'll deal with whatever we have to deal with when we get there, and look, we'll do all the usual previews and reviews, etc. At the time. But for now, I think we're both happy that they're knocked out and then they're miserable as hell. And
also with the slight possibility that we could end up playing Man City in, we're playing them in the League Cup final.
Yeah,
we're facing off against them in the league, and then ultimately we could play them in the FA Cup at some point.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking boring if they made the final and we made the final, and that was like I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. An unhappy Pep is a good Pep. Right, so quickly we'll do your 3 red reviews, and thank you for sending those through on Blue Sky, X Threads, TikTok, etc., and the WhatsApp group. And as always, apologies if I mispronounce your handle, your name, and I looked at a couple of them and said, I suddenly realised how to say something like Mr. Angel Nielsen. Anyway, whatever. So apologies for that. Anyway, Blue Sky. So we had Cheech. We are back. I'm not sure we ever went away, but we're back in terms of performing. Ask Cannon Picks, Ian, no Arctic Circle. Steph Metal from said North Bank podcast, going to Lisbon. So, I've been bloody hell. Flights, funnily enough, are through the roof now from London to Lisbon at the time of the match. But let's see if I can get a ticket. Mr. C. the Gooner, pretty relaxed, really. Alf Stewart, Rice and Eze. Nice one. I like this one from Hans Lejeune. Kapow, Zap, Wallop. He's been watching too much 1960s Batman. Sid Silk, Bangers FC. So thank you for those on Blue Sky. On to Threads. DJ Bucat, who always comes in with a good old pun. Bayer Levered Out. Or by Lavered Out, if you're going to pronounce it a certain way. Terry Breeze 666, Springtime Eze's here. Yeah. 51 Envisage, Little Ray of Sunshine. I like that one. I like this one as well. Barney Bus, Bins, Top, Bottom. Yeah, they definitely were. Rom 303,000, Shutted Hater's Mouth. Yeah. And Deschamps Gill, Quadruple is alive. It is indeed. Oh, God. Toby Brewer, there we go. Absolute fucking class it was. GM Turk 83. This isn't a 3-word review as such, but I liked it. It was Ein, Zwei, brackets, home and dry. Yeah, play on the German. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Mimi Kalinalala, Easy Eze Rice, Floodcolm, Arsenal ruining football. And then Dab Savage, a complete team. Yeah, I'm with you on there. TikTok from Back4 Golf, pick that out. Yeah. And then on the Grove WhatsApp, we had Jamie, absolute Thunderbastard. It was Moz, a bit more subdued, job done. Next, Rahima, quad dream alive, and Noel Mikade, quad is pending. How do you feel about it? Is the quad a thing? Is it? It's weird because I can believe we can win all competitions, but that means we win the quad. Do you feel it's so hard to do?
It's like the final. It's like the final frontier, though, isn't it?
But it feels
because no team's done it, so it's the final frontier. So I can understand anyone who's got it on at the business end of the season. It's going to be what people talk about. People talked about it for Liverpool. People talked about it for City. So, until it's not a thing, which we will, the first opportunity for it to not be a thing that's in front of us being in 4 days' time, until it's not a thing, people are going to talk about it. And I'll be honest, I've thought about it a lot. I've thought about, because there's limited numbers of outcomes now that are in the realm of what is likely that don't make this a very historic season for us, right? A treble would be our first ever treble. Wouldn't be the first treble in at all, but it'd be our first ever treble. A European Cup would be our first ever European Cup. And by the way, any combination of a treble is also our first ever treble. We've only ever had 3 doubles. That's our cap on things. No, 4 doubles. Sorry, 4, isn't it? So yeah, there's just a lot of potential outcomes for something truly historic for us, and then there is one outcome which is truly historic for the world of football, right? And it's hard not to contemplate. But in my heart, I think it's just there's too much perfection, right? There's too many things have to go your way, so it can't possibly happen. But it can. It's very rare, but we are currently the favourites in 4 competitions.
Yeah, in isolation, but you put it together, it's a whole different story. But it's
the FA Cup's the one with the greatest margin. The FA Cup and the Champions League both have the greatest margins. The Champions League's a bit of a weird one because it feels like we've been given a really nice path into the final, and that's why that feels so tantalisingly close.
I would suggest the FA Cup is harder than the Champions.
Weirdly, the FA Cup feels
getting to the final. Getting to the final, but we'll very quickly two last ones.
The FA Cup, you could have a team. You could have the tie that could be the final. So the City game would be in the next round, right? That's
So we'll see. But anyway, before we do that, final 2, Tanvir, bring on Wembley, actually, and Andy Leach, Declan fucking Rice. So thank you for those, and we'll be asking for more as the season progresses. Right. On to said EFL Cup final, 4:30 UK time, Arsenal versus Man City at Wembley. Peter Banks is your referee, and look, this is starting to get real now. Winning season is upon us, and I saw this, and I picked this out, and it was like we've got 7 games left in the Premier League, potentially 5 games left in the Champions League, potentially 3 games left in the FA Cup, and we've got 1 game left in the League Cup. So
that's 18 games of football. That's shit.
No, well, you can't add up. 16. 16 games of football. But actually, now that you say that sounds like quite a lot. But just individually,
it does. It's a shit ton of games. That's like half the Premier League is 19 matches.
Yeah, I guess. But it just felt. It just feels really real because you're in the closing stages of all of these.
To be honest, mate, that's pushed it back away in my head. I'm going, Jesus Christ, I've got 16 games to sit through.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a bit more like, wow, this is like, is that it? It's like, we're so close. It's
literally half a Serie A season.
All right, now fuck that then. All right, anyway, let me move on from that point. There's 1 game left in the League Cup. Okay, is that enough for you? And this is our first final opportunity to win a trophy since we won the FA Cup in 2020, and that was a weird one because it was during the COVID season and empty stadium, beating Chelsea Football Club 2-1, and I guess it's the first time since 2017 the Rob Holding Petr Saka final, which again we beat Chelsea 2-1, where we can actually have fans potentially present. We haven't won the League Cup since 1993 versus Sheffield Wednesday, beating them 2-1. 2-1 seems to be a favourable score, with goals from Paul Merson, a great strike from outside the box, and then the famous Steve Morrow gets the winner before subsequently been getting his shoulder smashed after Tony Adams threw him over his shoulder in the post-match celebrations. So,
and I made people at school sit through that, because do you remember at school towards the end of term you got a chance to bring in a video to watch?
oh wow! So of course not live.
Yeah, so we had those things like over the course of a couple of weeks, and like just people kept bringing in films and stuff, and I brought in a VHS of
the 1993.
Well, it was 1994, I think, but
no, 93. I looked at it.
No, when I played it in school.
Oh wow! So a year later.
Yeah.
Oh, even worse, even better.
Let's watch Arsenal beat Sheffield Wednesday. By the way, there's a sequel to this. It happened only a few months later. Do you want to watch it? No, do you want to watch that one?
Yeah, and for once the sequel was better than the original. And there we go. So look, our route to final. I think it was pretty fun, especially the wins over Chelsea and Palace penalties, but mostly straightforward. So 2-0 away to Port Vale, 2-0 at home against Brighton, 1-1 against Palace, and then the penalties. 3-2 away to Chelsea, and then 1-0 at home to Chelsea. So we finally got there. Yeah, Jamie, how you feeling about this Sunday?
I'm remarkably relaxed. Weirdly, I think maybe it's a little bit of the League Cup. We've sort of so not been in it. It doesn't feel like a particularly real trophy to me. Do you know what I mean? It's something other people do, the League Cup, and not in the same way as the Champions League. Even we've had so little success in the competition that it's felt so jeopardy free. Especially all the Wenger years we played all the kids and stuff, right? You know, for year upon year upon year. So weirdly, I've not thought too long and hard about it, and it's only that it's City, I think, that it's really keeping my attention.
Wow!
So I don't want to devalue it whatsoever. It'd be a fantastic trophy to win, but it just strangely it's not keeping me up at night at all. I'm not getting jangly and nervous about it. I'm looking forward to the match, and I think we've got a really good shot, and I think we go in as favourites, and that's fantastic. And I think that if we win it, then it's one of those things. It feels like domino, right? And you just flick that first domino, and you are racing away through winning season at that point. You know.
What do you think winning or losing would mean for the rest of the season?
So I think I'd be a lot more nervous had last weekend not happened about the impact of the League Cup upon the Premier League. Because the last week, City getting hooned by Real, City drawing with West Ham, us beating Everton in the manner we did, all that stuff. I just don't think it would give them the second wind. I've constantly been thinking about this sort of second wind idea, almost this momentum idea for City. Is it going to kick in? Are they going to suddenly turn into a champion team? And I think, to be honest, it needed to happen against West Ham and Real. I think this would be a fantastic end to their season. Well, this would be a good way for their season to end if they're not going to win the Premier competitions. Of course it is. And you could say they've had a modicum of success, and especially due to the fact that City are rebuilding, etc. So there's a trophy there to be won for them, and they are very dangerous with it, and it would change some perceptions of their season as a whole. Especially if they could then, they've got the opportunity to go and win the double with the FA Cup. But I don't feel like winning this would have the impact of going, okay, they're going to win it, they're going to beat us in the league, and they're then going to go on and win the Premier League title. I just think it's just too gone.
You're framing that from a City point of view. What about from our point of view? Again, like from a winning perspective, it's a domino effect. Fine, and if we lose,
I think we'd just pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and go after the rest. Honestly,
interesting.
I think, I genuinely, I think losing a City in the league as well. If we were to lose both, that would maybe the deflation there is particularly impactful. But no, I think the boys have already proven 3 games lost all season. Sweeping aside the vast majority of what's put in front of them and looking as good as they are, they've got to have the belief. They are firmly, they're in the driving seat. with all their ambitions. And if you cock up the one game, I think these boys just move on. Would be my hope.
I think
Especially
the
because you go. To be honest, you can kind of compartmentalise and go, "That's all right. It's the League Cup." That's the positive of the League Cup. You can move on really quickly because it is the League Cup. It's the shittest of them all. It's a fantastic trophy to win. Winning trophies is great, but it's the shittest of the domestic trophies, and therefore,
I think in the normal circumstances, yes. I think the fact that because we haven't won anything for so long, who we're playing and all the rest, I think the manner of the result will make the difference. I don't like the fact. Well, I will like the fact, or I won't like the fact that the international break is soon afterwards. So you've either got 2 weeks of just pure fun or 2 weeks of like crying. And I think you're right. I think the League Cup in any other year would have that. And had we been successful, and if it's just like, so basically if City lose this, they're not going to cry over it. Oh, we've got so many, we don't care. This is not what we're looking at. This does not change the dial, on our season.
I think they really will. Because, I mean, this could be Guardiola's last season. We don't know.
Yeah, but he won't be judged. He won't be judged on this. This will be easily forgotten, swept under, whatever.
You want to go out with it, You want to.
Yeah, but this isn't the high that he wants, and and stuff like that. But look, I mean, for me, I just want to get the monkey off our back, and this is why it's as big as any other trophy. And I think for this team, for the players, Arteta to get a trophy that they really deserve. And not just for this season, but the past 3 seasons. And I know it's not the big one. It's not the league, or it's not the Champions League. But I just think, I think it's that domino effect. And it's just something to give them something to say, right, we've got that, and just shows we can get over the line. We can break
the winning breeds winning thing, isn't it?
Yeah, break the narratives.
Anchors even within the context of a single season. I get it. And it is, it is a thing.
And also, I think getting one over City, to beat City again. Look, they've been a bit of a thorn in our side over the past few years, and yes, we've beaten them in league games, but ultimately that's been meaningless. So great, we had the 5-1 last year, 2 years ago. Whenever. Ultimately, didn't really mean anything. We haven't lost to them in ages.
They're still a class outfit. Individually, there are so many. He's still. He's not as good as he was at his peak, which is fortunate, but he's still very, very good. Doku at the moment looks, staggeringly good. Their wing play in general is really
no end products, but but what I mean is just having that again. That no, he hasn't. I mean, it's just getting that monkey again, another monkey with your back. Just having that, so you break that psychological barrier, break that narrative. It just makes a big difference. And one thing
would be a big. I think at the same time, this team is just wired well. I think we would pick ourselves up if it is an issue. I'm not scared of the outcome. I think is the main thing I'm trying to get across.
Well, that's a healthy view.
Based on this outcome, I think this is just an opportunity for me, and the opportunity is a really great one to get the ball rolling. And I mean, Christ. The fact that you could inspire us to absolute greatness, the fact you are telling the boys now, right, that's the first one out the way. We're like 90% of the way there on the league, and we've got 2 other trophies that we really could be challenging for. I mean, that is a huge drive for people that are at the top of their game. So that's an opportunity for me.
And you look at what
it's going to derail anything.
And you look at what teams the likes of City, the likes of Liverpool. They've won this competition. Look what they've gone on to win. So even though, again, minor competition, 4th out of 4 and all the rest of it, it's always is normally been that first trophy that leads to more, and that could be us. And it's weird. I mean, either way, I think the narrative will be about Arsenal. So win, it's all about Arsenal. Lose, all about Arsenal. And I think either we win or lose, it could take the pressure off, because then, right, we lost the game, fine, the quadruple's out of there, we can just stop thinking about all these things, and there's just, it refocuses the mind. Or if we win, again, takes the pressure off, we've got that trophy, big lift, let's go. So I think it can go either way, and I think the manner of the result will make the difference. If we get an absolute slapping, it's very different to losing on penalties and stuff. As much as it would hurt, I think that could potentially make a difference. So look, I'm fortunate enough going. I don't think I've ever been to an actual Wembley final with Arsenal. I can't remember. So that will be my first one there. So I'm looking forward to going. but I'm not looking forward to not enjoying it until the final whistle. I was speaking to Harley at the weekend and did you ever enjoy the finals you've been to? No, it's all results driven. And unless you're the Aston Villa final and you're 4-0 up and you can sing and dance, it's just going to be a horrible time because it's City, it's Haaland, it's Rodri. So I'm looking forward to being there, but I'm not looking forward to being there. If you see what I mean. Now, for the people that do have to be there and actually play and have control, this is going to be a real, I think, dilemma in terms of who we pick. And I want you to tell me who you pick for the team, but also who your subs are. Because there are going to be two big players, or two name players that are going to miss out. So no, up until the final, it's been a mix of senior players, youth, depending on injuries, et cetera, and it's always been an opportunity. But this is the final. Yeah. Yep. What would you do? And the first big question is goalkeeper. Kepa, right?
So it is actually. It's genuinely a question, isn't it? I think you have to give Kepa it.
What would you do? You haven't won a trophy in how long?
So I think I'd give Kepa it. I
really?
think when you've made that deal with a player like Kepa, you have to stand by that and you have to honour that deal, unfortunately. Because
it's not unfortunate. He's a good goalkeeper.
I want David Raya.
Yeah.
Because I do think there is a difference between the two, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that difference is the thin hair of a difference between good and great. So I'd like it to be David Raya. But I think when and this kind of depends, doesn't it? It depends on what the deal is with Kepa. But my expectation, based on how we've utilised him, is that he is the domestic cup goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's the domestic cup goalkeeper, and he got us there, he plays.
Okay.
And it's as simple as that. If that is not the deal, then David Raya. But if that's the deal that we made with him, that's the deal.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
And if you don't honour it, then you send the wrong message out to everybody involved in the camp. That's my kind of take on that.
And look, other teams have done it in the past. The Liverpool didn't play Alisson; they played other keepers. Chelsea have done the same. City have done the same, and I think City will stick with Trafford.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. So you got Kepa,
which I think which is a similar position, right? Trafford and Kepa are both guys who could start for the majority of teams in the Premier League. In fact, actually, 16 teams in the Premier League probably would take either of those goalkeepers as their number one. There's pretty much only that I see, like City and Arsenal, Villa, and I can't even remember the other team, and Everton, I think, and that's everyone else, and Liverpool actually. So there's probably 15 teams that take those guys, and that's so therefore if both teams do that, cracking. We should probably reach a deal. Maybe you should have a word with Pep and be like, Pep, mate,
would you trust him?
You're gonna go Trafford and I'll go Kepa, and Pep will go, yeah, all right, Mick, let's do that, shall we? Keep the boys happy. Yeah, all right, cool, no worries.
Yeah, okay. So that's sorted.
We just go then. So then, yeah, centre half. Otherwise, it's the favourites back to
You're right.
Oh, sorry, mate. My sneezes can be sudden and violent, and there are normally several of them. Freya takes the mick out of me 4 more time.
So, obviously, Saliba and Gabriel.
Saliba, Gabriel's obvious. Left back. I'm going Hincapié.
Really?
I'm going Hincapié left back.
Any particular reason?
I think
the City team,
with how good their wing play is, I'm going Hincapié as the slightly more defendery kind of left back over Calafiori. And I say that despite Calafiori having one of the games of the season in his previous meeting with City. But I'm happy with either of them. But Hincapié is just my gut feel on that one.
Okay.
And then right back, obviously, you would take Timber if he's fully fit. And if not, then I think... Now, this is an interesting one. Do you go Mosquera to deal with Doku and his, unbelievable physical ability.
Yeah, but he's got no end product, so it's fine. He hasn't. I'll look up his stats while you do it.
Well, or do you alternatively go with Ben White? And I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum, that one. But you would certainly hope for Julian Timber to be available.
Yeah. Okay. So then, who have you got in midfield? Okay. By the way, okay. So here we go. Doku. Yeah. He's got 1 goal in the Premier League and 1 goal in the Champions League and 1 goal in the EFL Cup. So 3 goals, 12 assists in 35 games.
It's not 12 great. Assists ain't bad, is it?
Yeah.
What's his? I mean, that would make him, I think,
3 in the FA Cup, 3 in the Champions League.
That would give him more assists than anyone else in our team, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Anyway, I still don't rate him.
I don't think anyone's reached double figures for assists for us.
Yeah, but I'm saying across the board. Anyway, we're 90 minutes in, so I'm not going to do I don't rate him, but there we go. Right. But I'm sure I'm going to eat my words now. But
okay. Midfield 3 picks itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Wingers, I'm going Trossard and Saka, really boringly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going Madueke and Saka.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Madueke and Saka.
Okay.
Trossard's really difficult. So after that game against Leverkusen, you just are like, if he does that, you want him. But I actually think, Madueke.
Okay.
And I'm going Havertz.
Yeah. Okay. The only difference I would have is I'd have Calafiori and Trossard. Just because
both classic Tabs picks, absolutely.
Yeah, you go and win it. Calafiori there, Trossard there. That's it. So
and
that's fine.
If Timber isn't fit, White or Mosquera? You go Mosquera.
I'm not a White lover. He even did it yesterday. It was just a bit casual on the ball, and it just winds me up. I love him and hate him in equal measures, and I'm not as big on him as a lot of others itself. So I would go Mosquera, especially if playing Calafiori. I'd go Mosquera to free him up. It's just a personal thing. I'm not gonna. I try not to bring priors on the thing. The only thing he does wind me up is just his sometimes casualness. But I know he gives everything. I know everything about him. There's something about him that just makes me feel uneasy when he's on the pitch. Okay. But that's that. But yeah, so I'd go Mosquera to bit solidify the right hand side, and then
for what it's worth, I would as well. I'd go with him. Yeah, I'd go with him against Doku and keep Benny White fresh, and then bring him on at a time where we might need him going forward.
Okay, so this is the thing. So on the bench, that Odegaard is battling to be fit. I
don't think you take him.
He's not included in the Norway squad. Yeah. So assume he can't make the bench. So your bench has to be 9 subs, and it has to be 9 out of Raya, White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Norgard, Dowman, Madueke, Martinelli, Gyökeres, Jesus, and MLS. Which 2 are you not taking? Just assuming my team. So assuming Calafiori and Trossard, or whatever. Yeah, who are you not taking?
That's a bit of a tough one, isn't it?
Do you want mine?
Go on.
Jesus and MLS. So the bench would be Raya, White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Norgard. I didn't feel comfortable against Everton not having a midfield someone. Dowman. So you have your 3 defenders, auxiliary midfielder who can play defender, and then your 4 attackers are Dowman, Madueke, Martinelli, and Gyökeres.
MLS was probably the first name that was on my lips, which is incredible to say, but it probably was, yeah.
And then Jesus, because it's really weird. It's against City, experienced player, blah, blah. I'd be more excited about what Dowman does than MLS.
Yeah, I would agree.
Sorry, Dowman does than Jesus.
I would agree. Yep.
Yeah, but that's a big end. Yeah, no Odegaard. And if Odegaard's fit, then you just swap him out for Norgard, I guess. That's the only difference.
Changing in the old guard.
Yes, very good. But
the old guard. Yeah.
Right, so Man City, look, they've had a pretty straightforward route to the final. They beat Huddersfield away 2-0, Swansea away 3-1, Brentford at home 2-0. And look, even the semi-final against Newcastle was fairly straightforward, 2-0 and 3-1. I mean, mostly helped by new signing Semenyo and the fact that he can play for Bournemouth and Newcastle in the same Man City in the same competition is absolutely nuts. But but as I said before, winning this can be a stepping stone. Like, when City have been perennial winners of the EFL Cup, they've won it in 21, 20, they won it in 19, they won it in 18, they won it in 16 and 14. So leading up to their period of domination and during their period of domination, it was a trophy that it's not that they took seriously, but they just had a good enough squad that it was still better than everyone else to win it. Look, I'm a bit of a which City is it that we're going to be playing? This is not the dominant, imposing City of previous years. They are vulnerable in midfield defensively, especially late on in games, which we've seen them giving up leads at home and away. But they can still be very dangerous going forward. They've got Haaland, Semenyo, Cherki, Doku, Marmoush. On that day, they can cause you trouble. And Haaland seems to like a goal against us. I think it's 5 in 7 games. So we need to be switched on. Gvardiol is their only player really that's out, so their injury issues are behind them. And in terms of their league form, they've actually only lost once since this year in the league, and that was away to Man United. So that can happen. But they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wins. 3 of which have been home, but their losses have been Real Madrid, and Bodo Glimt. So we can see a vulnerability there. But it's still Manchester City. And they've rested up some players. So,
they are so make no bones about it, the talent is there. There is talent in this Manchester City team. In abundance, actually. Individual player quality. The front set, Cherki, Silva, Rodri, Doku, Haaland, Semenyo. I mean, that is there's so much ability there. It's unreal. So there's a lot of threat. The plus side is Kusanov, Aït-Nouri, Mateus Nunes. That's the plus side. Nico
but
Riley.
even Rodri in midfield, their statistics since he's been back they have worse results with him back than with him in the team.
He's not the player he was. He's not the player he was, which is very understandable. He's got to have spent about as much time off the pitch as he has on the pitch for the last 3 years, right? They, ever since he got the Ballon d'Or, it's just been, I would like to feel for the guy. I don't particularly. But yeah, he's not been that great. So, but there's just tremendous quality in there. In the same way as well, you can say Haaland's been his ifs and spurts. He's Erling Haaland. He's ridiculous.
And you just know he's going to hit for. He scored the other day, so all of a sudden he's just going to come back. They've got a lot of those kind
of talents in particular that if you get isolated against them at any given time, they'll kill you. They've got a lot of killer players, So yeah, what will be. It will be a massive challenge for these boys. But do I think that I kind of, as I said at the start of the episode, I just think we're a better team. That's the key thing, right? We're more in tune with our identity. We're more well rehearsed in what we are supposed to be doing, and we're more efficient as a team. So you've got to back that.
Yeah, I was just trying to look at the head-to-head. I mean, we haven't lost to them in quite a while. I was just trying to find the head-to-head, but yeah, I can't remember the last time.
Certainly, so we, this season, the draw last season, draw and a win. Or was it both? Was last season the double?
No, last season was the 2-2 and the here's the head-to-head. So
5-1.
We haven't lost since 4-1 in 2023. So and I think that was when Rob Holding it was the Rob Holding era, and no Saliba. So I think on paper and on form we are the better team at the moment. But it's a final one-off. They've got the experience to a certain extent.
Cup final as well, though, man. With the
exactly
kind of animals that those guys are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, I say that, and the whole point is a bunch of these guys aren't cup final animals. That is part of the story of Manchester City at this time, is that they are going through. They have Haaland and Rodri and Silva and Diaz are kind of proven winners, and Donnarumma brings it from other clubs, right? The rest of them are sort of learning, what it is to be big club, big competition winners, right? And so as a result, that's what we've got to try and take advantage of, is that they're not that much more experienced than us in what they're doing. So,
and the only ones that I really,
the better team.
The only ones I really fear is Haaland and Semenyo, and I think the one good thing that
from this season, Doku. You play with fire, you do, Tabs. Like, I'm not.
It doesn't. It doesn't work like that.
Football, I feel like that.
No, it doesn't work like that. If I say I don't rate Doku, I don't rate him, doesn't mean he can't have a moment. Okay,
but the bear of fate one too many times.
There is no such thing. Okay, so it's fine.
That's the bear of fate, mate, because he's going to be very pissed off about you.
So anyway, Semenyo and Haaland, but again, if we turn up, we play again. But no, my point was, in terms of learning, that the one thing that Arteta is really good is seeing something, experiencing it, and learning from it. So you saw the game against Bayer Leverkusen away. He changed things up, and we learned from it, and we were better. He's going to take the home game that we had, and how we approach certain aspects in terms of things like, does Gabriel really commit himself like that, or if he does commit himself, do we make sure we have cover? Because the only reason they scored that goal is because we overcommitted. So he's gonna learn from things. So I think if we lose, I don't think it will be because of City. Maybe it'll be because of the occasion and what we do, as opposed to what City do. But I think we are the better team. We're in the better moment. And maybe this is the thing. It's our moment. It's our time. So no matter what happens, it is just our time to win. And like we said before, things are just falling into place that we're going, but they're falling into place now. And it goes back to that point. Doing really well at the moment, but we've won fuck all. This is the time to start changing that. So I'm predicting a tight 2-1, potentially after extra time. What are you predicting?
Official predictions, courtesy of This Is Our Moment, Martin McCutcheon Tabarelli over there. Okay, so I'm going to go with. I'm going to stick my neck out a little bit and go with a 2-0.
2-0.
Third
clean
consecutive 2-0.
That'd be a brilliant week, wouldn't it? This is the week that defined our season. 2-0 to the Arsenal is going to be the new song.
I think that'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's change the narrative.
Change the narrative.
We're more comfortable than what we used to be. The statistics bear it out, I think, don't they? So,
to quote Mr. T in Rocky 3, my prediction is pain. There you go. So it's pain during the game watching.
I will say, whilst I'm quite relaxed in the build-up, and I think that will probably remain until Sunday. And
4:29.
I'm going to be absolutely anxious as an anxious thing, like throughout it. I know that,
Are you going to meet up with the Grovers to watch it?
Yeah. Well, I've got two places potentially to be and things to do before the game, which is real annoyance. But I'm gonna see which one works out for the plans that I have in the morning, unfortunately. But certainly, I will be in a pub. I will tell you that. This is the kind of occasion where it's impossible for me to watch it in home environs in such a way as that it won't make my relationship suffer.
Yeah, as I said, I'm fortunate enough to be there, so let's hope it's a beautiful day, to quote you too. Right, there we go. 1 hour 43 in. Thank you for listening. During that, I was thinking I might just cut this up and release the second part as a separate pod towards the end of the week, but I'll release this all in one now. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate your calmness. That is not what I'm going to be. I'm not even going to be able to do anything before the game. Yeah, the ability to function is going to be really hard on Sunday. So you saw me at half time against Everton.
Mate, honestly, absolute state. I was almost a bit disgusted because it was like, it's only fucking Everton, mate. Chill out. But then I remember, I think I still remember there was one game that we played at home a couple of years, well, the first year that we had the title run. I think it might have been Leeds we played, where I remember just turning around at somebody at the time and going, "This isn't fun anymore. This is shit.
Yeah.
Like, don't like this anymore. Football's crap now. I've just got to sit here trying to win." And then what's happened is it's ground me down over the past 3 years now. Where actually I'm just a results machine. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. We'll see how I feel on 95 minutes. Don't need to enjoy anything until that point. Right? Just wait out the 90 minutes, see if you've won, and then determine whether you had a good time or not.
My coping mechanism, I'm trying to force this coping mechanism myself to say, no, we're going to win. We're going to win. It's going to be fine. So no matter whatever this game state scenario is, I have full confidence we're going to win. And it's only when the final whistle goes. So therefore, there's less time stressing. But
it's been a nice season for that, right? I mean, at no point have I stopped predicting that we're going to win football games. No
one's ever predicted that.
I mean, just genuinely in my head, like not on this podcast or whatever. I generally have gone into every single game this season and thought we're going to win this, and that's. That it's actually made things, certainly previewing any games is very uninsightful, to be completely frank, because you go, well, these lot are going to be difficult, but we're going to be better than them, we're going to win.
If only it was that easy. Anyway, thank you, Jamie, as always.
Right, in a bit.
Thank you, everyone, for your 3-word reviews. Appreciate that. And if you like, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, X, Insta, and then the podcast channels, YouTube, Apple and Spotify at The Grove AFC. Leave us a nice little comment, 5-star rating, etc., to help spread the word. The next pod will, everything is crossed, be a glorious celebratory. All of that pod post Carabao Cup final victory on the Monday, because I don't think I'd be any fit state to do anything Sunday evening. And all that leaves me to say is thank you for listening. An hour and 45 in. Until the next time, please, come on, you Gunners.